federal government, the Department of Justice has rights to do audit and to do investigation. Before we can say exactly who we're going to be prosecuting, we have to know what our violations are and who did it. For a sheriff and maybe a team of 3 or 4 to come in with him to run that audit and to do that investigation on their own while straightening out this mess, that's more than Hercules with the Aegean stables. What this is going to take is a full professional team, and that would be the Department of Justice bringing in their auditors, step 1, to do a forensic audit. What all money came in, who handled that money, how was it dispersed, where did it go, did we stay within the guidelines of the federal government, the grants, how the money came down. They will make recommendations on felony charges at that point, if there are felonies involved, and then we pursue the felonies and we go after the people that committed violations. That cannot be done, within the first 2 months. It's going to take a while. Yes, sir. Okay, that's the question over the county appraisers. Let me give you my first point on philosophy and the direction I'm going to point. I want to make this direction go. Is the foreclosure appraisers that are under the sheriff's office, that function does not belong in the sheriff's office. That's an appraiser function. So my first step is to push that through the state legislature to at least give us the option of pushing it over to the appraiser's office and get it out of our hands. That's a position that's just absolutely, like you're talking about, it's absolutely ripe for corruption. The second thing is, yes, there's going to have to be far greater qualifications on this. Right now, essentially what I'm getting, and I had asked John Bowman about it, what is really involved, how hard is it to get someone qualified to be an appraiser? So pretty much nothing. Is they get the information on here's a potentially foreclosed piece of property. You drive by, you get some pictures of it, you look at what properties have sold in the neighborhood, in the area, you write that up and you forward it and you get a nice little check for it. That's not a tremendous amount of skill on that. I think we should have qualified appraisers put together some kind of a bipartisan choice team. Here's the people we're going to certify for taking these. Here's what they have. Here's their qualifications. Here's going to be the standards that they follow it by. And here's a set fee that they get. They get this and no more. It's uniform. One of the things that has been brought up to me, and it really concerns me, it's ripe for an investigation, is on the assessor's issues of these houses, is the possibility that some of these appraisers might have been agreeable to straw purchasers that could then grab the properties and then do a quick flip, make a little extra money off the property on the inside track. That's not something we want associated with the sheriff's office. Did that answer your question? Yes, sir. Yes, Mike. Great question. Now let me answer this. This is deep water for me. I've never been here. I don't know. That's why Miss Tiffany Phillips over here has volunteered to take care of me and hold my hand and walk me through it.
So right now, donations, we can get the walk cards and should be starting to hit doors next weekend.
Okay. Yeah, Tiffany and her crew have done an outstanding job on their work, particularly on the burning actions. I've met with them. They have done a tremendous amount with pretty close to nothing. They worked administration and the directions it's going, how are you going to be able to address this? And essentially what I'm talking about, or what I'm going to call the transition team. Because once I'm elected, I think I get 1 week before I'm actually supposed to take over the office. So when I was first asked, would I just put my name in there so there's alternative to vote, I said, well, okay, I'll think about that. That was like last November 31st. Closing date was the following week. And then I got to look at it and I thought, oh crud, I really could win this. Now what do I do? And believe me, that thought took me a lot. Your question of how do I do that has kept me awake a lot. The first thing I have done is look back at who I consider some of the top police executive administrators. And I have visited with quite a few, talked with different ones. Some of them are willing to come on as temporary consultants. One of the individuals I had a long dinner with and I really respect considerably, he's from the other side, is John Fitzpatrick. He has got a 6-year plan on what he wants to use to turn the sheriff's department around. He has the upper level executive experience that I don't have. I will not tell you that he's endorsed me because he hasn't said, yes, I endorse you. That's for you to ask him. I will tell you that I intend to ask him, mow his lawn, whatever I have to get him come over here with that plan because it looks really good. Let's blend that with a CSI. That'll make a good starting point. I have already